Before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us reach 3,000 likes. And thanks to everyone for supporting the channel. But Heavenly Demon didn't smile. There was something he wanted to ask seriously. And he asked, "Major shareholder, why did you tell my father that it was all my hard work? Surely you suggested many ideas as well." Ryu replied, "But it's all ideas. Isn't it you who worked it out? You developed it and executed those ideas, right?" "I just told the truth." Heavenly Demon silently observed Ryu. Almost facing the risk of having someone else's efforts wrongly attributed, Ma Kyung-rok managed to salvage his pride, courtesy of the acknowledgement extended by his father. "It's all thanks to major shareholder Ryu." Then Heavenly Demon's gaze toward Ryu underwent a transformation, a touch softer, transitioning from the glare of vigilance. Quietly, Ryu couldn't help but crack a relieved smile, and said to himself, "Fortunately, I could ease his wariness. And better to build goodwill with Heavenly Demon like this." On the other hand, LC Group, a formidable rival of Osung Group. With every news he read, LC Group Chairman Song Baekhyun's face carried a growing weight of concern. Player Place Corporation, stock on the rise again today. Player Place nearing 100,000 users in just a month. A company growing day by day. Player Place. Player Place's success secret? Precise understanding of players' needs. Player Place's CEO unveiled as Osung Group's successor. Seeing all those articles, he inquired, "Did they throw money around? Why are there so many articles?" muttered Song Baekhyun, clicking through the comments on an article. "Who else is using Player Place? Me. Selling items here is genuinely convenient. The app's user-friendliness is top-notch. I sold all the unnecessary materials on Player Place, too." This is right. Anyone who doesn't invest in Player Place is an idiot. Maybe Chairman Song of LC Group won't invest because of his pride. Player Place was made by Osung Group. It's a big hit. Song Baekhyun simply turned off the monitor. Reading further might lead to dying of anger. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Song Baekhyun said, "Come in." Upon seeing the person entering the office, Song Baekhyun's eyebrows shot up like arrows. It was none other than his eldest son, Song Jae-gyum, and he is the president of the Player Haven Cafe. Jae-gyum inquired, "Father, you called?" His dad said, "Jae-gyum, how old are you this year?" Jae-gyum replied, 32 years old, sir." As a sigh escaped the chairman's mouth, Jae-gyum lowered his head like a sinner. Then his dad inquired, "You can only be a player if you're 29, right?" Jae-gyum replied, "Yes, sir." He asked, "Aren't you feeling unjust? Just a 3-year difference and you could be a player." Jae-gyum said, "Well." Then his dad added, "Becoming a player would give you abilities even if you're incompetent. How great is that, to gain supernatural abilities even if you're inept, right?" It might be great, but Jae-gyum couldn't smile, because he knew his father's words were mocking his incompetence. His dad added, "Look at our rival, Osung Group. Despite expanding globally, we always lag behind as second. Why is that? Our technology isn't significantly inferior, right? And people remember only the first place. If it's not the first, second, or third, doesn't matter. And that first place is often influenced by luck. The gap between second and first isn't that significant. Do you understand what this means?" The president continued saying, "It means with effort, even second place can become first. Just with effort. But even though we make tremendous efforts, we can't surpass them. The gap has widened so much that ordinary effort can't narrow it. In that case, we need to strike a heavy blow, right?" By now, he was so accustomed to these kinds of lectures that it would be strange not to hear them. Then his dad asked, "You know what article I read a little while ago?" Jae-gyum replied, "Probably something about Osung Group. You've been reading those topics all week." His dad said, "Recently, Osung Group has been making waves with a groundbreaking app. Have you heard of Player Place?" With slightly widened eyes, Song Jae-gyum nodded, as if acknowledging his awareness, and said, "I have." He added, "Apparently, Osung Group created that app. And guess who's behind it? Their second son, Heavenly Demon, is the representative of Player Place." Song Jae-gyum's expression hardened as if he had tasted something bitter. Then his dad inquired, "How many years apart are you and Ma Kyung-rok?" Jae-gyum replied, 3 years. He said frustratedly, "He's younger than you, right? But that young man still has the vision to run such a company. especially seeing him explode with such a good idea. On the other hand, some, despite growing up in an environment where success is practically guaranteed, can't even get a single line of news with their name on it. Despite the clear comparison, Song Jae-gyum remained silent. He wasn't bothered by it anymore. His father continued saying, "If you were at least a player, I wouldn't have pressured you like this. What should you do then? Shouldn't you try to expand your business like Ma Kyung-rock? Not necessarily aiming for a big hit, maybe a moderate success, or even something small, right?" As the eldest son of LC Group, Jae-gyum said, "I will show results." He inquired, "Really? Well, do you have any ongoing projects?" Jae-gyum replied, "I am preparing something quietly." He asked, "What is it?" Jae-gyum responded, "It's not time to reveal yet. Please wait a little longer, father." He said, "Didn't you say something like this last time? Don't make excuses to avoid criticism." Jae-gyum said, "I really mean it. Please watch and wait. I am preparing a significant thing." His dad sighed and said, "Well, understood. You should have something by now. Go on." Jae-gyum said, "Yes, please rest comfortably," and he left the chairman's office. Closing the door, he pondered deeply and said to himself, how did things come to this point? It's all because of that Ma Kyung-rock guy. In fact, when someone is repeatedly compared to the point where it becomes like a label in one's ears, it's inevitable to harbor resentment. And he said, who wouldn't want to become a player, claiming it's themselves? But what can I do about bad luck? Some might consider it fortunate to be excluded by just a 3-year difference. After all, it was a life-or-death survival game. But for Song Jae-gyum, whose reality was hell, it was nothing but misfortune. And he said, I wish I had become a player at least. If that were the case, I could have competed with Heavenly Demon on an equal footing. But regretting now is pointless. With the sound of footsteps, Song Jae-gyum walked and entered his private office. The stress had been overwhelming lately, and he inquired. Player Place was Ma Kyung-rock's? He was unable to bear the idea that Player Place was Heavenly Demon's. It was the first time he heard this information, and suddenly, irritation surged within him, and he said, without even knowing, I had recommended it to cafe members to use. Wasn't this indirectly helping the rival I wanted to kill? Then he saw another article that caught his eye. National Assembly member Lee Seong-hyun, massive player act passes. Lee Seong-hyun says, players are like society's cancer. With the increase in player crimes, voices supporting Lee Seong-hyun are growing. When the law is enacted, players will be suppressed by force. Player catching players, we decided to prioritize players among the police. As early as next month, a large player police organization will be formed. Reading that, he said, as expected, that guy was a troublesome. In fact, Song Jae-gyum also harbors a disdain for players, but to expand, influence, and compete with Heavenly Demon, it's unavoidable to side with the players. Then he added, that member of the National Assembly, we can't leave him alone. Seeing that the meeting time had arrived, Song Jae-gyum logged into the chat room. Despite it not being a regular meeting day, Ryu was making his way to Lost Yak's residence. It was an unexpected urgent summons. Ryu wondered, it's not even Sunday, so what's going on? Could it be? Are they already putting the plan into action? While he had a hunch, he knew he had to attend the meeting first. And after flawlessly transforming into the spitting image of Lost Yak, Ryu took his seat in front of the computer and entered the chat room. Upon joining, he found Yamti and the president eagerly awaiting. The president said, you made it? Ryu said, oh, sorry for being late. The president's expression seemed darker than usual, and he said, it's okay. Honestly, we were worried you wouldn't show. Each member's situation is critical. Ryu said to himself, what's happening? What's his deal? It was a pity that he couldn't read his mind through the video chat. Then the president asked, Yamti, how did the executive interviews we planned last time go? Yamti replied, yes, it's still ongoing, but at least 3 of them have successfully passed the murder test. He inquired, so, they're okay with our cafe? Yamti replied, yes, indeed. They are positive about our cafe, to the extent that we could sit them in a meeting without any issues. Hearing that, Ryu said to himself, 3? Who are these individuals aiming for an executive position? Certainly they must have committed murder without hesitation, tempted by the position. Then the president asked, so, we can use them as part of our team? Yamti replied, yes, but what's the matter? The president cut in with a determined look and said, tomorrow we execute the plan. Curious, Ryu inquired, Mr. President, "What do you mean by the plan?" he replied. "Capturing National Assembly member Lee Seong-hyun. That's the plan." Ryu said to himself, that explains the urgency. As expected, he had long asserted that a countermeasure was needed against National Assembly member Lee Seong-hyun, who had displayed hostility towards players. So, he has decided to kidnap him? Ryu added. I saw recent articles. It says that National Assembly member Lee Seong-hyun successfully passed the Anti-Player Act. Then Ryu explained, that law stipulates, to effectively suppress players who commit crimes, a special organization composed of police officers who are players will be established, according to the act. And the ironic part is that the members of the special organization are players who were selected from the police. In other words, players who are police officers will catch criminal players with power. The chairman nodded in agreement with the explanation and said, "That's right. The problem is that now that the act has passed, our cafe's position will undoubtedly decrease," Ryu inquired. "So, kidnapping?" The president replied, "Yes. By kidnapping Lee Seong-hyun and showing it to the public as an example, the voices of protest will decrease." Ryu was shocked and said to himself, "An example? Are they planning to execute him?" Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. I know that this part was not good because of using AI, but this is the only way to complete our story.